Welcome to SKaL, Sports, Knowledge, and Life. Let's learn, let's apply, and let's scale up. Welcome to SKaL, Sports, Knowledge, and Life. Today we're shooting episode 8 with my special guest, my brother Scooby. Welcome to SKaL, bro.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you on. As you know a little bit about SKaL, SKaL is for our new generation of student athletes. What I do is I bring folks like you, yourself, on former athletes who kind of been through the ranks and kind of built that experience and have that knowledge to kind of share your journey, your story, so that they can learn from it and they can apply it as they go through their journey. So thank you for taking your time out of your day to come on and share your story with us. So if you don't mind, we can get straight to it.
Okay, I'm done.
So I usually start off by asking, the first question to all my guests is, how you doing mentally? How's your mental space going right now?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Actually, the last 2 years we had a ton of change. You know what I mean, from all different aspects, and especially everybody being very, health conscious and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's made a lot of struggle for a lot of people. But for me, actually, I feel like things have actually been really, really good for me, in so many different areas, even, just outside of work, family, everything. So I'm in real good shape right now.
That's good. That's good.
I'm thankful, because I know it's been a rough period of time for a lot of people. So
yeah, that's a blessing, man. You're right, man. It's definitely been a tough, 2 years, pandemic and everything going on. So thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. And before we kind of dive in, I just want to let everyone know that, you and I, you're my brother-in-law, you know what I'm saying? Like our wives, our sisters. So, we have that bond, but I'm looking forward to learning more about your journey because I know how much you love sports, I also knew you in high school as well, too. So it's like, it kind of goes deeper than just, meeting, through being, brother-in-laws, but I knew you in high school as well, too. So I'm eager to kind of hear your story in totality and everything. So we can just jump right in. So I typically kind of ask first to kind of talk about your journey, like pre getting to high school. Like, what were some of the sports you played? What really got you intrigued about playing sports? As a young kid, whether it's middle school, before middle school, just kind of talk about that if you would.
yeah, so I always wanted to play sports. Very young age. I got it. I really started falling in love with sports when I was real young. Um, I'm a Washington Commanders fan. But
Man.
back when they were the Redskins and everything, and I was young, it was, Doug Williams. He actually won the Super Bowl. I was one, so I got a real solid memory. So my granddaddy, everybody, was real hyped. So then that's how I became a fan. And then over time, it was just everything. Football and basketball cards was a big thing for me. I started getting basketball cards. I was learning all their stats and everything. Back then, you could, flip out a card. I'll be able to tell you all kind of stats because, it's cool. You want to buy a pack of cards and you just want to get that Michael Jordan card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then from there, it just grew. It just grew my interest. When I was in middle school, that was when I finally got to play for the first team because, my mom and dad were separated. So I was often going back and forth, DC to Tampa, DC to Tampa, you know what I mean? Sometimes to New York, New Jersey, so then I was never in a place where I could join a team and actually, stay. But I played baseball in 7th grade, I think. Man, I couldn't hit the ball to save my life. I think we had 10 games and I made contact in the 9th game. But it was fun. I loved every minute of it. I actually could pitch. I had a good eye. I could tell you if it was a ball or a strike. I couldn't hit it. So if I got on base, I was gonna steal a few bases, you know what I'm saying? But that was it. So, and then from that, it gave me the drive to want to play, and then in the summertime, I would be in DC for all my PG County people. I went to St. John's basketball camp, And that was awesome because they would have like a draft and then put you on different teams, and then you play
nice.
like a little season and then championship. So then you got the
Mhm.
little feel that you won a championship, you know, a
Yeah,
little trophy. It ain't all that, but to you at that age, it's amazing. And
right.
then of course, when I came to Tech, that's when it all just opened, you know, football, basketball, track. You know, the only thing I didn't play was much baseball. You know, I came out there
Right.
and tried to be a pinch runner a little bit, but then I was like, nah,
Right.
man, I can't hit. So what's the point of me being out here? So, you know,
Right.
but that's where
Right.
it really kicked off right then, you know. So
Okay. Okay. Okay.
football, I mean, basketball was always my love, but
Uh-huh.
my height, you know, it didn't work out. So, but when I started playing football, you know, I actually started as a sophomore,
Hmm.
and you know, I'm out there. I'm first day of practice, and we got 5 minutes to get out there, or we got to run, and I'm like, oh
Hmm.
no! And all the kids they're running out there, seniors and everything. We're all practicing together because it's like the first few days of conditioning. We got pads,
Hmm.
and they're going out the locker room and I'm trying to figure out how to take the pads, and I've got my pants on. I'm like, how do y'all do this? They're like, man, take the pants off, put them in first. And then, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
my first experience. And I got hit a few times and stuff like that, but I was strong and everything. So coach
Hmm.
was like, oh yeah, you work with them. He had me working with seniors and stuff. And I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I'm just doing what I saw on TV. And
Right.
then I kind of picked it up from there. So that was my experience. You know, I didn't get to have the little league and all that stuff like that you know, I
Right.
wish I had, but once I got to it, because I love sports so much, all of them,
Right.
I just took off.
Right. 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 That's beautiful, man. So, if you mind me asking, so you say that you didn't get a chance to play in the little league. Was it because you were kind of like moving, like you kept moving from like DC to Tampa up north, or was it just because you didn't know about leagues that were available to you to play in? Because it kind of strikes me that sophomore year was the first time you got a chance to like play football, put on pads, and you know how to put the pads on, take your pants off first, then put the pads. Like like that's kind of crazy. And also like to me, because I know how good of a player you are, it's like, man, you had a late start. And just imagine if you would have, played a little bit, for like, one of the TBYFLs or Pop Warner.
Yeah, of course. I always was like, man, I wish I played, you know, but it was always, you know, I'm gonna go visit my mom, or I'm gonna be up there. I'm gonna go visit. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I never had the consistency in one place to be able to play. So yeah, it like I said, it was a shock when I first went out there to practice, because I was I basically was like the same size for like 8 years. So at one point I was a big kid, and then
Uh-huh.
later it was like, yeah, this dude, he used to look like he could play, linebacker, for
Yeah.
his age, but now he's a scat back. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, so I pretty much was, 5'6", 5'7" for like my whole high school career,
Yeah.
and I always had a real stocky and strong frame. So
Hmm.
a person looking at me and say, oh, he's a freshman. Oh yeah. So when I went out there, coach immediately was like, oh yeah, well, he's a sophomore. He's going to be, bigger. Let's
Yeah.
work him with the seniors and stuff. Let's see where he
Right.
belongs. And, the seniors was like, hey, they at practice. They like, this fresh meat, I'm gonna eat. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of gave me that drive. And then also
Hmm.
too, before my dad got me out there, we got some cleats, and
Hmm.
I was like, I want to get a visor, I want to get some gloves. And he was like,
Yeah.
man, we ain't buying none of all that until we know you ain't gonna quit. And when he said that word, quit, it was like, all right, nah, I gotta prove you wrong. Ain't
Right.
nothing making me quit. Man, I was
Right.
waking up with cramps in the middle of the night and stuff like that. I was like, I'm gonna be out there though.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. So how did your sophomore year season go? So first year, did you play a little JV and varsity, or did you go straight to varsity as a sophomore? And like, how was the season? How was your progression learning the game? How did that kind of come about?
So thinking back now, I actually thought about this real recently too. I
Uh-huh.
didn't, because it's my game, coaching and everything. The X's and O's are all constantly running. I
Hmm.
always need to feed that. So when I was thinking about it, I actually didn't understand the game much at all when I was
Hmm.
first playing. But like I had that quick takeoff, and I was strong. So as a sophomore, they actually put me at nose tackle. I was
Nose, okay.
5'7", 175, playing nose tackle.
Yeah.
But the thing was, I had a quick takeoff. I line up in 4-point stand. I had a quick takeoff, so it was hard for those guys that were bigger to get their hands on me. And I'm right there next to the quarterback, and I'm actually fast and everything else. So then it caused a lot of problems. That was cool on JV. We moved up to varsity with the big boys at the end of the season, and they weren't having that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we played Wharton. Wharton went to state. Those guys was big, and that's when I learned, like, okay, I got to actually understand this game and get to a position that makes sense for me.
Right.
And that's when I started learning about, reading the offense and stuff like that. And I realized I wanted to run the ball a little bit. So I was like, get right. And, that's pretty much how it was.
Nice. So let me kind of transition and kind of say, how was it being an all-around student athlete? Like, being at Tech, it's I don't say it's a private school. It's like a magnet school, right? Tech,
Yeah, they call it a magnet and vocational because they had a little bit of both. So
right.
So, the biggest thing was, once you play a sport at Tech, they want you to play something year round. You play all of them. So, with basketball, track, everything, being so busy with sports, that pretty much took up your time from after school to 8 o'clock.
Right.
So, and then the student side of it, because you're playing a sport, you always knew you had to have your grades and everything. You had to have your GPA. Always. I mean, I'm pretty intellectual, you know what I mean? So, so I didn't struggle with that. It was kind of easy. My parents were heavy on school first.
Right.
So actually, when I played baseball in 7th grade, believe it or not, this was pretty embarrassing for me, but I got a C on a project, and my parents took me out of baseball after that 9th game. I made contact, and then I was off the team.
Because of the C?
Yeah. I was like, and I got this C up in like 2 weeks. I came with my new progress report. I was like, Dad, I'm good. Can I go back? And he was like, nah, it's over now. But that guided me. So, I graduated with a 4 at Tech. So it was my focus on school.
4.0?
Yeah.
Dang, salute, bro. Dang, that's solid. That's solid.
It was barely a 4. You know what I'm saying? It was like
4.03, but right. No, that's nice. So academics, you were solid. Yeah, no issues. You were able to balance. Like, how was with balancing? Like, having practice. You said till 8 o'clock. Have some homework. Going home, getting homework, getting projects due. You also have friends. You know what I'm saying? Going to the movies, bowling, parties. So like if you can recall back, we ain't that old, but like if you can recall back, how was like balancing all of that?
Oh man, you making me feel like I ain't get to live, man. It wasn't, wasn't no bowling and all that. You know what I'm saying? Nah. I did go bowling into the movies from time to time, but most of the time, I was at the house. I had to get my stuff home. Believe it or not, like, I'm one of the dudes. I actually had a bedtime until I was like a senior in high school. If you up, you better be doing schoolwork. You know what I'm saying? So, so I pretty much had all my stuff done. I appreciate my parents for that, because it instilled a lot of different things from me. You know what I mean? But so it was. I didn't really struggle with that because the way my parents had me set up.
Right.
And then on the flip side, after I knew I had that C, being hired in a 2.0 and the coach taking you out, that wasn't my worry. I needed to make sure my parents didn't have a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. 2.0 was nothing. I needed 3.0 and to have all my pass off my back. Yeah. So just kind of circle back again. So it kind of hit me. So you said that you played your sophomore year. So freshman year at Tech, did you play any sports at all, or do you just kind of like, let me learn the lay of the land, see how things are going, get my grades right, and then try out? Or did you just say, I want to play sophomore year and then give it a shot there? Or did you play a different sport freshman year?
So my freshman year, I wanted to play football, but football starts off right off the bat. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to show up. So I think it was the second day of school. I came home and I'm like, Dad, I want to play football. You know, he was like, nah, you got to show me that you can get the grades first. So I missed out. I missed out on football season because it was too late. Once I was able to have enough time to produce that, and then basketball season came around. You know, I remember we had conditioning. Conditioning started, you know, maybe the third week of school.
And because they weren't playing.
Yeah. So, and you know, actually, it's funny about that is you was part of the people that scared me, man. I went in there to conditioning after we done ran Titan and we done ran all these miles and stuff on, and you and Dominique and them guys are throwing alleys off the wall, and I'm like,
yeah.
But yeah, that's, you know, basketball was the only thing, you know, for my freshman year because of I had to get some grades to show my dad that I was, you know, going to take it serious.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I commend your parents, man. I mean, to say, nope, get your grades first, Uncle. When football starts, get your grades first, and then we'll consider football. And it sucks on your part because you missed a whole year of getting footage and getting yourself acclimated to the sport. But they're like, listen, sports come behind. Like, you're a student first, then you're an athlete. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely shout out to your parents for that, you know, for keeping on. I mean, even the 7th grade, pulling you off the team for a C on a project. That's no joke. That's no joke.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's dope. That's dope. All right. So kind of talk us through like your junior. So first year, sophomore went well. How did junior and senior year kind of go as far as like your confidence, your build, like you said, finding that position that you're like, okay, now I can read offense, read the defense. Where do I feel like my game will shine the most?
So the biggest thing was, I mean, you know how football goes. It's a heady game, but in high school, you know, everything's simplified for you to succeed. If you got the right coach and everything, then they're going to simplify everything for you to succeed. So the biggest thing for me was in football, especially in Florida, you want to be at practice for the whole summer. Summer, I was in DC. So the only thing I could do was work out and get in shape. Consequently, at the same time, you know, back then you wanted to be fly, you want to have some money, you could take a girl out or whatever. So I got a job, and my first job was actually at Gold's Gym in Bowie.
Gold's Gym. Okay.
So Bowie, it's a small city in Maryland. We got a college there, historically Black, you know what I mean? So we had a lot of the football players would come in there and work out. It's summer, it's their off season. They'd have me working out with them because I worked there. So I was, you know, the little kid that's working in there that's in high school. So they kind of took me on a wing work out with me. I used to take the bus all the way home. And at home, I would run up and down the hill to get faster. So when I came back as a junior, they were like, oh, okay, we can't put this guy at nose tackle. You know what I mean? Like, if we want to try to, you know, do some gimmicky thing, we can do that. But he's different now. You know what I mean? And that's when they wanted me to switch to the offensive side of the ball, get in the secondary, and they want me to hit people and stuff like that. It was a little bit different. But that was the biggest thing that helped me in my experience was that change. When I took working out serious and I hit the weight room, it actually transformed my game in football, basketball, and track because I was way stronger. And just, you know, I was more accustomed to my body and what I'm able to do. You know what I mean? That was, if there's one thing that I could tell a high school student, freshman year, get in the gym, man. I mean, get in the gym.
Right. Hit the gym. That's a blessing to have a job working at the gym, like getting paid, work out, watch people work out, learn new techniques. And then you said you come across the football players and they're like, hey bro, come on, man, join us and work out. And you used to run the hill to get faster. Like, yo, that's the mindset of like, okay, I know what to do. I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So that was definitely a blessing. Like you said, you knew that the setback was, I'm not in Tampa working with a team. I'm in Maryland. So let me do what I can to make sure that I'm up to par when I come back. They're like, okay, he wasn't slacking. He was working every day, or, you know, getting the work in. So now let's kind of transition into the fun part of it, you know, like trying to, like, once you felt like, okay, I'm good, like I'm probably better than good, like I think I can play at the next level. What were some of the things you did to make sure that you got an opportunity or that you were trying to secure that athletic scholarship to play at the next level. Like your grades were good, so coaches is not gonna worry about your grades because he can come and be fine academically. But what were things you did to kind of set yourself apart from some of your colleagues, teammates, or trying to get a scholarship as well too?
So it was a bunch of different things. Obviously, I'm telling you a little bit about my character by explaining how I would work out and everything like that in the summer. And I kind of carried that with me all the time. You hear all the stories about, Walter Payton and Kobe, Michael Jordan, and how they kept working. So I always felt like I need to do a little bit more. You know what I mean? So a big thing for me, especially in football, was my cousin lived right around the corner from me. And he was a football player. And, you spend all the nights, playing, NCAA football, and you create yourself and you want to go to this team. So I already had those aspirations. So I understood that to get that, I had to get out and do drills. So all the drills and stuff that my coaches would put me through, I put some cones down. We had a little field by a church. Me and my cousin would go out there, do drills, throwing the ball, running sprints, doing all these different things that we learned from passing camps and stuff like that.
Right.
Did all those different things repetitiously because I felt like if I'm doing those things when everybody else is not, I'm getting better.
Yeah.
And then, once the opportunity is for you to put it on tape, put it on tape. And the biggest thing too was my dad was at every game. Yeah. And most of the time he recorded. So we had a second place to have film. In case the high school's not doing it or you didn't have anyone. Back then we didn't have a lot of people that would just help recruits get or help recruits get to scouts and stuff like that. But now that's a bigger, more prevalent thing. It's a good investment now. But back then you definitely had to have somebody with a camera just getting everything that you do on film.
Right. That's an important point because if Pop wasn't there, if the coach had some the team had footage, but they want to share it with you, or someone lost it, or they recorded over it, one of your best games, then what? You got no footage, and coaches, especially back then, like they even now, coaches still want to see you play. Like they can't be there live, so show us some footage. Now they got YouTube, Instagram, so now you can post up. But back then we didn't have that. So thank goodness for Pops was there every game, every play, catch you, and then you go home and you cook it up and you got the VHS or whatever CDs, making it into one so that you had your highlight tape you can share. And they're like, hey, this is what I can do with my highlight tape. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely a big one. So those are some things you did to kind of set yourself apart, to kind of get college to start looking at you. And that you just have like letters start coming in, and like, did you do any official or unofficial visits before like senior year or after your senior year?
So here's what's interesting. Going off of that same subject, I took my tape from my junior year. I had it recorded and I was trying to copy it so I could have more of them and stuff like that. But I had 2 copies, and I took one and I visited DC for spring break. My mom went to Howard. At the same time, they were also recruiting other players in our area. People that I grew up with that was friends with me and everything. So my mom, used her connections and everything and delivered my tape to one of the coaches. He was an assistant, maybe like a position coach. But when I got back home, I got a phone call from them and I had a visit.
Okay.
So when I went up there for the visit, they saw me, they talked to me. They actually offered me. So
okay, Howard University.
That was the first one. So and I didn't go there, but I learned a lot just from that visit because I'm sitting there and I'm seeing the track athletes running the track while I'm up there, and they're running their times. I personally didn't want to run track, but I did pretty good at it. So I was just asking the guys different things and watching how they were practicing and stuff like that. That was a whole week of me being able to just see what they do.
Right.
And then also watching the football team. Antoine Bethea was there, and he actually was a real good safety, played for the 49ers, the Bills, a lot of different teams. And he was like, I saw him be a leader on that team. Defensive players drop an interception. Go do push-ups. Go do push-ups. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then so much as he even was explaining to a guy how to get on the field. He was like, look, man, you can catch interceptions all the time you want in practice. Everybody can catch a pick. If you hit somebody, coach will find a place for you to play.
Right.
I never forgot that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I took that with me. I brought that with me and I was like, you know what? I'm a hit. And guess what? It works. You hit somebody, they'll put you on the field. So yeah, man, it really helped. I was thankful that I had that tape because you know that's something that was an offer I could have accepted.
Right.
You know,
right.
And obviously just the experience that I had up there, that gave me some more information about how things really work, which in turn helped me in the long run.
Right. And that was your junior year, right? So you still had one more year to kill in high school before making that final decision. So after your senior year, did you go on any other visits or were you getting more letters from different schools, D1, D2, you know, like how was that coming about?
I got a lot of letters for like D2 for the most part, but I ended up visiting Jacksonville University, and then that's it was closer to my dad. I wanted Pops to be out there, so you know that's what. And then Jacksonville University at that time was trying to grow their population. So my freshman class was actually the biggest class that they had at the time. And they were offering a lot of academic scholarships and everything. So it worked out. You know, that was just a better choice for me at the time. So.
Right. Okay, so JU, Jacksonville University. Nice.
And actually, I could have went to West Point, but you know, September 11th happened. I got kind of nervous. My parents were kind of nervous, so you know. But I thinking back, that probably was the best offer I could have had because you know, you get the discipline, the experience, and everything, and then also, I mean, that's D1 as it gets. You know what I mean?
Right. West Point. Right. So were those the offers you had on the table? You had Howard, JU, and West Point, or were there some other ones that you just were like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to entertain them?
I mean, I think I had some like D3 stuff, but it wasn't really, you know, D3 doesn't work on scholarships. And D2 wasn't at the time. So it wasn't really like I saw them, but you know, my mind, because I didn't fully understand how it works. I was one track mind and focused on, you know, these are my only options, you know. Right. And that's something I do want to mention. I took community college as not playing football. Like football is over. Sports is over. So I totally omitted that, not understanding that JUCO, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, financially, if you don't get a scholarship and you want to, you know, the right thing to do is go to save some money at that junior college or the community college, and then make sure you're keeping yourself in shape, keep your film, find a place. You can find places to play and camps to go to. And then when it's time for you to go, that's the best way because then you don't take out loans, you know, and that's one thing that I wish I would have learned because when you're in high school, it's always go to college. And if you're an athlete, it's, I need to go now. I need this scholarship. Like the time's going to pass by. Is it going to pass by if you show up at 20, you know, out of college? No. You know what I mean? Are you in your prime at 20? You going to miss your prime at 20? No. So it's, you know, that's something really important that I wish I understood, because then you can kind of make a better decision and go at your own pace.
The more you know, the more you can do. So that's why I created this community, so we can share some of these things that some athletes may not know about JUCO or, you know, D2 or NAIA, D3, about scholarships and things of that nature. So, all right. So now you're at JU, you know what I'm saying? You're the big man on campus. So did you only play football at JU, or did you explore with any other sports?
So I only played football.
Okay.
They make it where you don't really have time to play anything else.
Right.
But so the cool thing about JU is, at the time they were really trying to build up the camaraderie. So what they wanted you to do is if you play the sport, you needed to go to 2 games each week of somebody else's sport to support
Oh,
them. So it worked in multiple ways because now
mm-hmm.
you're building camaraderie.
Right.
And now you got more people that's cheering for the team. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
So that was pretty cool. It was also time consuming. JU, I mean, they say all these different things about all these schools where you got athletes don't have to pay attention in class. That wasn't JU, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what schools that happens because most student athletes I talked to, that ain't how it was. They were like, I had to sit in the front of the class or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
But JU, you couldn't miss no class.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't be
Yeah.
late. You couldn't sit in the back. Study hall was 8 to 10 p.m. You know what I
Man.
mean? So it's like you sitting in study hall at 10 p.m. Like, hey man, I mean, I got to go. So yeah, but you know, it's different, but it was good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Jay's a private school, so like I said, I don't know if that is part of the reason why academics was so focused on, but you know.
Right. Okay, so while being at JU, did you have any challenges at all? Like, did you experience anything that was like, man, that was tough? An injury or like school or anything?
Shoot, everything. Getting registered for class. I mean, you name it. But it's just the college experience. You know what I mean? You learn different tricks. Like I said, getting registered for different classes and stuff before they fill up.
Yep.
That's the first time that you're out on your own and
Mm-hmm.
you're making all these life decisions for yourself. And I don't mean the life decisions like, should I go to this party? Should I not? But like, what class am I going to take? Am I going to take that 8 o'clock class? Am I going to get up and be there? You know, so many different things. And then you only had a few people as guidance counselors to help you along the way. I was in my guidance counselors lady and in the admissions office all the time. You know what I mean? So those are a lot of different things that you don't really expect going in from high school, because in high school it's kind of laid out for you. Yeah, you pick, I want to take these classes and then you're done.
Right.
So I kind of thought that was how it was gonna be when I got to college.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got there, I was like, oh wow, like I'm an adult. I get to choose everything I want to do. If I don't want to go to class on Tuesday and Thursday, just don't schedule a class on those days. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know, taking those different, you know, I got to get this many credits. It was a big experience. So it was tough, you know. And in fact, somebody motivated me in Jacksonville. I think you might know him. I met Truth.
Oh, Truth. Okay.
Truth.
My cousin. Yeah.
I met Truth, and I remember talking to Truth, and Truth was one of the other people, because I used to box too. I boxed when I was younger, and he was into boxing, and so I thought that was cool, because you rarely run into people who are actually into boxing and actually did it. So, you know, I chop it up with him all the time. And I'd be like, yeah, Truth, man, what you doing? Yeah, I got 24 credits. And I'm like, what? So that was really inspirational, because you saw an athlete, you know, even though he wasn't an athlete for the school, he took his athleticism serious. But he man, that guy, I don't think I ever talked to him and he had less than 18 credits. I'm like, what, you trying to graduate next week?
Right. Drew went to JU, like graduated like 2 years and went on to the Ivy League, to like Columbia University, New York. And I mean, brilliant, smart. Shout out to Cuzzo, man. Shout out to Truth, man. For real. He was, I mean, brilliant, smart, you know. But yeah, so he said that he was like a motivation to you, like just talking to him and seeing all the workload that he had. You're like, 24 credits, 18 credits, 20 credits. Like, how you doing it? How you keeping it all together?
I'm like, shoot, well, if I do 12, then they're not going to try to mess with me and make me pay the loans.
Right. So we talked about challenges. So no injuries, nothing like that happened to you while you were at JU. You kind of was able to, like, you know, didn't miss any games, or nothing too serious that caused any kind of like delays or missing games or nothing like that.
So actually, I'm very thankful about that. You know, I had minor injuries. You know, I had a deep thigh bruise that pretty much kept me from practicing for quite a while. You know, you pretty much sit in the ice tub, and then of course you can go on game day. It doesn't make sense for you to be practicing, and you know, no major injuries. I had a stinger on my shoulder. I broke a finger putting a TV in the car. That's the biggest thing that happened to me in college, man. I mean,
Now
I
I'm
just was
guilty.
lucky. So, you know.
Yeah, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. So while at JU, how was your social support? Like, did you have support from your family, friends, or how was that experience for you? Like having that social circle that kind of helped you? Because as an athlete, student athlete, you got a lot going on. You have to balance a lot. So kind of talk about that if you will.
So the way it was a private school, and like I said, our freshman class was the biggest class that the school had. So the second, my sophomore year was even bigger. So the first 2 years, basically, it was like a family of a bunch of, new adults.
Right.
Add in the fact that we had to go to two, events each week for other teams, and you just got a big family of athletes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, I knew if my dad was watching. You know what I'm saying? I knew if he was there because it don't matter how many people's in that crowd. You look around, you're like, oh, there he is. He watching me now. And I can do it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that camaraderie atmosphere, it just made us all a lot closer because what you don't realize is if you have to go to two events every week, right? And you go to a softball game or basketball, whatever the case is, most of the time you kind of go together,
Yeah.
So you all your teammates go, y'all sign the paper together, y'all sit together, and
Mm-hmm.
now while you're rooting for them, you're also building that relationship with each other. Right. So a lot of long-lasting relationships I got from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still talk to my college roommate almost every day.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like that rule. I've never heard, well, I never, but to like make you go to at least two other sporting events, like that's cool. I like that. I like that. So kind of want to transition over to kind of to ask you, like, while you was at JU, did you have aspirations or were you trying to, or did you get opportunity to play at the next level? Like, did you want to play? I mean, of course, most people have the aspiration, but did you did you get a chance to play at the next level beyond college? And it sounded like you went to JU all 4 years from a freshman to your senior year.
So I actually left as a junior.
You left JU, okay.
Yeah, left as a junior. Coaching changes and everything, scholarships, everything, just the scheme changed, everything, the new coach came in, he don't believe in running football, he was in shotgun all the time. So that changes some things. And that actually, now that you mentioned that, it brings up a good point for your viewers. For the one thing they should do is really understand when they're weighing out different offers that we always used to hear, you got this, full ride, but it's not a full ride when it comes to sports. It's everything is paid for this year. So if you get a full scholarship and you go to that school, that's for this year. You have to earn that throughout the year to keep it. Now, most of the time, if you go on a scholarship, they're going to keep you unless barring injury or another coach comes in or whatever the case is. So you do have that kind of investment when you're when you show up, you're going to see 100 people on the sideline and they're going to be trying out for 4 or 5 positions. You got travel team and all that stuff. You don't have to worry about a lot of those different things. But at the end of the day, if enough good players show up, they can take your spot or if you get hurt. So that's something that you should weigh out. And that was another thing that drove me to JU's because they offered so much academic money. So that I couldn't lose that no matter what happened. So that kind of really caught my attention, because you're listening to like, if you ever get hurt and you're like, well, I don't want to get hurt, but I'm not Superman. And in case that does happen, I still got my academic scholarship. So that's something that's really important for, people to pay attention to. But, when it comes to that experience there and everything, every moment I wanted to be in the league, so that was my ultimate goal. But at the end of the day, at that level, you're a little bit more cerebral about reality and everything. You understand, like you JU 1AA at the time.
Right.
We knew we played San Diego. and Harbaugh was the coach back then at San Diego. Josh Johnson played for the Bucks, and if you look at Josh Johnson's career, right, it wasn't as great as what it seemed in college. A lot of people don't notice, but man, that guy looked like Vic in college. Leading the PFL in rushing and passing yards. So when you understand that and you see how good he is, and how his career progressed, then you kind of reality starts to set in. I did try to go to a trial for the Jaguars, and they had so many people. You don't touch a football. They cut down the first 15. I survived that wave, but then after that, I was gone. Have a nice day. And then when I came back home, I tried out for the Predators in Orlando, arena football. It's kind of weird because they don't really use running backs. So, they were high flying, throw the ball all the time. But they called me and told me, well, they told you if we call you, then you got another chance. We don't call you, just forget about it. Keep working your day job.
Right.
They called me and then the league folded. They called me and said, hey, look, we're not playing football this year. So I didn't know if that was good or bad, but and then after that, life started to kick in. I started coaching, you know what I mean? So I always had those aspirations, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, reality starts to set in. You see just how good the cream of the crop really is.
Right.
That's not a slight, because sports, and this is what I was getting at earlier, sports is different now than it was 15, 20 years ago. So when we were growing up, everybody was like, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
I know you heard that 1,000 times. You're like, yeah, you're good, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. So it's kind of different now. A lot of the basketball players that I saw at JU went overseas to play basketball. So yeah, cool. They didn't make it to the NBA, but I look at their Instagram and all that stuff, and they ain't hurting for nothing. You know what I mean?
They're not.
So those options are there. You know what I mean? A lot of those guys, our point guard came back and he's coaching high school basketball after he had a great career elsewhere, So looking back, these guys are mid-30s and they're doing what they love, and they didn't have to do anything that they didn't want to for their whole life. So you want to keep that in mind, because just because you don't make it to the league, your perspective for, you don't make it as a professional, there's still so many other avenues that you can go where you can keep doing it, and make a good life for yourself outside of just like the fact that you do get a degree and you can get a better job. You can also play your sport for money elsewhere and travel. You know what I mean? So I had a closed mind to that as well. And I wish I could have understood that. I mean, I think you remember Micah went to high school with us. He played quarterback.
Oh man, shout out to Micah, man. He's a superstar, man.
Yeah, so I mean, look at him. He went to Helsinki. I think he won 2-3 Super Bowls, and you know what I mean? So
doing his thing. Yeah.
So it's worth it to keep your mind open and do what pursue your dreams until you're ready to stop, and not till someone else tells you to stop. So
I like that. And if we kind of go back slow, because I don't know the process. So you told me that you tried out for Jacksonville Jaguars. So do you just sign your name or something, or you have to get invited, or if someone who's I'm a junior in college now, I want to go play NFL. What was that process like, if you can recall what you did to kind of get yourself?
But they usually work off invites. They would pick and choose different athletes from JU and a lot of the different colleges right there, because you had Edward Waters, UNF, but they didn't have a football team at the time. But there was so many different little schools right there, so they would go and invite people. And just to, I guess, see, maybe we catch somebody who's fast or somebody has a different skill or whatever the case is. They invite you, bring you in. But if you know football, you understand. When you get there, ain't no pads, ain't no hitting. You won't even touch a football, man. We're going to line up. We're going to do some 100-yard dashes. Let me see how fast you are.
Yeah.
And then when they're doing that, they're checking to see how fast you are and what kind of wind you have. If you're running that 8th, 9th, 100-yard dash and you still got that wind, you're not breathing heavy, they know you're taking it serious and they know you're in the right shape.
Right.
That ain't easy, but that's how they weed people out, so then they can go
Mm-hmm.
and get down to the nitty gritty.
Right.
So that's kind of how it works from that part, and then the rest I had to learn from watching Hard Knocks because I ain't get that far.
Right. Okay. And then you said, so after that, you tried out for the arena football, got the call back, but the team, kind of folded in. So you went into coaching. So kind of talk about your experience being a coach. Now it's coming full circle. You were a player, you played in high school, played in college. Now you're coaching athletes. How was that transition? And how was that for your perspective on sport?
So coaching was awesome. At first I was so young, I was kind of resentful that I wasn't still playing because
Mm-hmm.
I still wanted to play,
Mm-hmm.
but when I got into coaching, I started off I was working at the YMCA, so
Mm-hmm.
I decided to start coaching the youth leagues there.
Mm-hmm.
It's flag football, soccer, basketball. I coached everything at the Y,
Yeah.
and then I started building networking because I was also a personal trainer in the gym. There
Mm-hmm.
goes that word again.
The gym.
So I met the JV football coach, and I started coaching with. He was a football coach at Sickles. I started coaching
Mm-hmm.
with him. Was an offense coordinator with him for the JV. For the
Mm-hmm.
varsity, I was just like a scout because they didn't really know who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started going to who they would play next and just pick up on different things. And I know the
Mm-hmm.
game, I was able to bring them back a lot of different intel. So
Mm-hmm.
about halfway through the season, when JV stops and then varsity keeps playing, I went up and started giving them little hints. I'm like, hey, look, man, I noticed whenever the quarterback does this, we looking deep. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then they started giving me more and more responsibilities and stuff. And that was the first time Sickles made the playoffs, and they went to regionals. So it was pretty good. They had a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to find out a lot of notice different little keys
Mm-hmm.
that other teams did to try to make it easier for their players to execute
Right.
their responsibilities. And if you can really pay attention to those little things, then you can really gain an advantage because you know what's coming.
Right.
So that helped me, and that kind of got my name, and eyes around coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept coaching there, and then another guy, he's actually best friends with Rondé Barber.
Oh, Rondé. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So he kind of
Okay.
put me in the network. I met him, and I met Raheem Morris and
Nice.
a lot of those guys. And Raheem Morris at the time was the coach of the Bucks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my name started moving around, and that's how I ended up coaching the Tampa Yellow Jackets
Mm-hmm.
in semi-pro because they saw where I was working, they saw, I was in that kind of network, and then I was able to start coaching with them, and that was awesome too because now it was semi-pro. It sounds like like this is they're not playing on TV.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's adult league football. That's the reality of it. It's adult league football, but it gets pretty serious.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, um, I was 22, 23 years old, and
Yeah.
I had people that was 18 all the way up to 37, 39
Mm-hmm.
playing. So to be able to have that experience, I got this kid who's having his first child on the way. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a child. I'm coaching
Right.
this person. I'm trying to help him make the right decisions. And at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, I got another guy's over here, and he's dealing with different issues in his life. And
Mm-hmm.
he's 37, and he smelled like Bengay when he walked by. You know what I mean? Icy hot. It
But
was
it
a
was
pretty
struggling.
good experience. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
it helped me learn how to be a leader of men and not just children, high
Right.
schoolers and stuff like that. So that was awesome. And that helped me in the long run for, my career.
Yeah.
Because I'm in leadership in my career now. And,
Mm-hmm.
so it gave me a lot of different aspects that I didn't, different parts of life that you have to, tend to as a coach. I got to learn really fast through that.
Right. 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 Okay. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. So as you wrap up, I got a couple 5 questions I'm gonna throw at you, about 5 more questions or so. One thing I like to ask is, if you look back at your sports, student athlete career, what would you say, or what would you deem as one of your most embarrassing moments? I know you referenced one earlier in the session. I'm not sure if that's the one you still want to use, but if you had like your most embarrassing moment that you're like, man, I wish I didn't, had that experience. I can erase it from history, let it be gone. Just that one. What would that one be?
Well, I think that the most embarrassing thing was at Tech. I was on special teams, and it didn't happen just once. But we was on punt coverage team, and if anybody's played special team punt coverage, you kind of understand. They punt that ball, and everybody, especially in high school, just run around looking to hit somebody.
Look.
So I'm looking at the guy who's trying to return the punt. So I'm running full speed. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go tackle this. I'm gonna rock this guy. The next thing you know, I see my feet up in the air.
Blindsided.
So I got up. I look at the sideline, and everybody was laughing at me. And for some reason, for like 3 games in a row, it just kept happening. This is in high school, man. Like,
yeah.
So then my teammates was my coach. Coach Coop was like, "Hey man, watch Lewis. Watch him on this play."
Oh man, I remember Coach Coop. Yeah.
Man, that had to be. I mean, I was laughing at it at the time, and I'm laughing at it now. But
and it hurts too, man, because you don't see it coming. It's like out of nowhere. It hurts.
Yeah, blindside. You gotta keep that head on the swivel.
Head on the swivel, always. All right, so that kind of leads me into my next question. What would be, if you look back at your whole career, high school, college, beyond, what would be your most memorable achievement, or something that you're most proud about in your journey, that one moment, whether it's an academic award or athletic achievement, what would that one thing be?
Oh man, so you hit me with the twist right at the end. I mean, out of all the things, it was that graduating with that 4.0, man.
Yes, sir.
That was an achievement, because I'll be honest with you, because I could retain, I had a good sequential memory and everything, good photogenic memory too. I could go to take a test and kind of paint what I saw, take it. So I probably didn't study and stuff as serious as I should have. And so then when I realized that senior year, I'm like, hey man, I could get up to a 4. That was big for me. But I say you hit me with a twist because I mean, I had a lot of really good experiences playing football, running that football.
Ran that thing.
Talking trash. It was a lot of good experiences, man, and we went to overtime in a homecoming game. And college, you got the 2-point conversion and everything after a while. And it's because the college rules were different. It's the way it is now, I kind of don't like it. But you had the plays from the 35-yard line going in, and then after the first overtime, you had to go for 2 if you score a touchdown every time. We went for 2, and I was able to get it in. So that's
funny game. I like that. Thanks for giving me a academic and a athletic, achievement. I appreciate that. I think you're my first one that mentioned, the academic success first, but it's either or. You're a student athlete, so thanks for sharing both. Definitely appreciate that. So now I think you mentioned earlier in the session, but if I want to give you a segment to kind of talk about that now, we all know hindsight is 2020. If we go back, make a lot of different decisions. So what are some of the things that if you could go back in your journey that you would change, and why would you change those things?
Well, like I mentioned about considering a community college, I mentioned that because as I was talking about the whole scholarship situation with the academic scholarship and the athletic scholarship and grants and stuff that they give you, Jacksonville University was a private school. So $31,000 a semester. It was, you don't want to play around with that.
$31,000 a semester?
Yes. And that's before you get into your college. If you want to get into your college, aviation,
Yeah.
don't even ask. So I went right past the community college route because I thought that meant sports is over. Mm-hmm. And when they fired my coach, brought a new coach in, that athletics portion of the scholarship was gone. But my love for football didn't leave. You know what I mean? So, and my need to finish school didn't leave. So that next semester, 31,000. You know what I mean? So I took out some loans that I didn't want to take out. And now in hindsight, taking that path and going to HCC, that could have been a lot better because then I could have paid that out of pocket.
Right.
And then I only had 2 years to go work on my degree. I could have went to a different school or whatever the case is, or still went to JU, but I would have already had an associate's degree going in. It would have cut out a lot of the opportunity for taking out loans or the risk. And then I could have not been so scared of 9/11 too. So
West Point was right there, man. Yeah.
So, you know, I didn't want to get deployed and anything like that. I never was a ROTC kind of person. So
Right. I feel you. All right. So this is the part of the session where I call our scale up moment. So, and you've already dropped a lot already, but if you don't mind giving some more. So if you had any kind of gems, word of advice, guidance that you could give to these young, new generation of student athletes coming up to help guide them in their journey, what are some gems that you would give them? And like, if you're talking to like a middle school or high school young boy or girl who's playing football, soccer, baseball, basketball, what would you tell them if they want to make it to that next level, high school level, college level, professional, overseas, arena? It doesn't matter. Like, what would you share with them?
So, as most viewers can gather by this point in our session, perseverance and will was a big thing for me, you know. So that's why I was always in the gym. That's why I was always pushing myself further. But the biggest and the most important factor in all of that, before you know, doing extra push-ups or whatever it is, taking extra reps, before any of that is keeping that focus and that desire, believing in yourself. Because like I mentioned earlier, you know, there are other leagues, you know, just because you don't see it on TV or you don't see it on TV as much, you know, shoot for that. Right. But if you fall short, don't just give up, you know, because there's other places that you can play. I'll give you a quick example, other than the ones I've already given you, because, you know, that works. But I was at the gym 2 or 3 days ago, and guy was, you know, I'm trying to hurry up during my lunch break, you know, got loaded up the leg press, a lot of weight. And there was a woman on the other, I didn't want to wait. So I was like, hey man, can I work in with you? And the guy kind of looked at me like, you know what I mean? So, but he was like, yeah, sure. So I hopped right in, start working out with him. He kept putting more weight on. So then after about the third set, you know, he actually works at the gym and everything. Big dude. He looked at me, he was like, man, I didn't think that you was just gonna hop on, no warm up and just start doing this weight. And I was like, I just got to get it in. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of keeping it low because I'm just focused on my workout. And he said, man, you know, I'm squatting because I play CFL. I play in the Canadian Football League. I'm a quarterback.
Dang.
You know, so and he was like, you know, yeah, I'm 22. And he was like, you know, I'm trying to do this. My agent called me and he wants me to try out for the Broncos. He's trying to get me an invite for the Broncos camp and for the Colts camp. And I'm already thinking, because I love football, I'm like, ain't got no quarterback. Go ahead and go over there, man. Take that. You know what I'm saying? But the big thing was he's still motivated. So you don't know where you'll fall. He's working in the Canadian Football League. So you hear about the Kurt Warners and stuff of the world.
Right.
But this guy's working out. He's in the CFL. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't know this, but the CFL, they pay your room and board when you up there. You fly back home and all that money is tax-free.
Tax-free.
So that whole time you're making that CFL tax-free money. You go back home to mom and dad if you're good enough, they'll take care of that too. So even if you
Right.
get a contract and your contract is, 70,000, but you're not paying any room and board or anything. So
Yes.
what are you spending money on?
Right.
So if you go do that for 4 or 5 years after college, you got how much money in the bank? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So I say that just never give up, man, because it's always a place that you can go. You just gotta, persevere and find it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And then in the case of this guy, I hope, first of all, he's so strong to be a quarterback. Good luck bringing him down. But
Right.
I hope, what I'm
Yeah.
saying, that he gets a tryout for the Broncos, or he gets a tryout for the Colts. You know, um, in my line of work, I used to end up going to a lot of people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
And I've run into people's houses and they got their college helmets and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
where you can see them in Kansas State and
Yeah.
Ohio State. But I ran into quite a few dudes who were like, hey, man, my career was just being on the practice squad, being on the ready squad for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
I never really got to play, but you know what? The long snapper told me,
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland Browns punter got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So they needed to sign a new punter. So they called him up and said, hey, we need you to come snap to this punter. He went up there, snapping, working out a whole bunch of punters to see which one they were going to sign. So he snapped,
Mm-hmm.
and they gave him like 15,000 a week just to snap.
Just to snap the ball.
He's snapping the ball. So after about the third week, the long snapper got hurt.
So they called him like, hey, you got a job.
Yeah. So next thing you know, he's on the team, and it wasn't even a serious injury.
Yeah.
But he long snapped for like 5 or 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Each week was like $55,000. So it's like, hey, man,
That's a nice investment right there. If you're going to invest, quick. Right.
And shoot, 2 months, you could change life with that kind of success.
Right.
So it's just keeping your mind open to all options. But the only thing that will open those doors is that perseverance and not giving up, having that desire. Because once you give up, it's done. You can't go back through that door. As you age, you're not gonna be faster or stronger. You know what I mean? So you keep that door open and keep your mind open to those things. Then if you get that possibility, you can change life with just in something so small. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that would be my biggest thing. It's I speak from the aspect of football or from the college basketball players that I saw, but this is for everyone in every sport, because it's different doors.
Right.
Like me, I was coaching. If you're in tennis and you don't go pro, but what if you can coach and instill everything that you learned into somebody who happens to might be a little bit more athletic, you put them that way. You know what I mean? So it's so many different options. The biggest and most important thing is to never give up. You'll never be too old to play a sport. Not saying that you're gonna, run into a 11-on-11 tackle, football game on the side of the road. You know what I mean? But you'll still be able to play flag or do all these different things. Just never give it up, because you can always make something out of it that is best for you.
Right. Thanks for sharing, man. That was deep. Appreciate that. There's two more questions. This one is more so just kind of, what are you up to these days? What do you have going on? You ain't gotta go too deep if you don't want to, but just want to kind of, get a feel of what you got going on.
So, right now, I'm having pretty good success with my career. I'm a supervisor. We are stacked ranked against each other and stuff like that. So I'm striving to be. Last year I finished in 2021 top 10. I was actually 7, so I want to move up a little bit higher. Nice. Because the higher rank I get, the closer I can. I want to relocate actually and obtain another promotion. So that's what I'm working at. So I love that. And then obviously my family, putting my kids in sports. So
love it.
My youngest, he's playing football for the first time. My daughter kind of, she jumped to sports right off the bat. Gymnastics, cheerleading. So she's in gymnastics, cheerleading. She wants to run track. So trying to get them in and let them experience the things that I didn't experience. at a young age, so that they could find their niche. Because
Yeah.
even if they, decide one day, hey, Dad, I don't want to play sports, it's cool. But just so that they can get that team experience, because a lot of times I feel like sports builds that focus and that drive to be successful. You notice when you go into a workplace, most of the leaders played a lot of different sports, just because you had that responsibility of being here and being on time and everything. So, just trying to build their character in that way, and, enjoying life. You know what I mean?
Beautiful, man. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, and then just the last part, just anything that you want to say, or anything that I didn't ask a question or a topic I didn't bring up that you wanted to share with the viewers. Right now, just an open floor for you to say whatever you want to say. Or if you're like, bro, I've said it all, we can end on a good note. That's cool too.
I mean, you pretty much hit all the different topics. You did a really good job, so I appreciate that. I don't know, you maybe went over it, but your viewers probably don't really know how good you were in high school, man. I was kind of intimidated. At the same time, I was like, oh, we got this dude, man. He gonna be 7'2", man. We should have win every game, man.
Man, that was the dream. I wish I would have kept growing, man. But we definitely had a solid squad in high school with Demetrius, like you said. Even before we grew, like, I don't know if you knew Tyrus Way, like he was probably there before you came on. And, all of them guys, man, laid the groundwork, and the coaching there and everything. So, but yeah, it's funny you say that, because I haven't been able to tell my story on SKaL yet, so I'm hoping to find the time to have the roles reversed, where I'm getting asked all the questions and I kind of tell you my journey, the challenges that I went through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, of my journey too. So I definitely will, eventually, I just got to do it, tell my story. Man.
I can't wait, so. Your family, y'all got a lot of good athletic stories, growing up, just thinking about all you guys. So yeah, man, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, thank you so much for your time, Scooby, man. You've been great. Thanks for all the words of advice. Thanks for sharing your story. I appreciate it.
I got one more thing I want to actually mention. So
all right, go ahead.
I've been making these. I've got these shirts.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see it pretty good, but it's superhero fit.
Superhero. Okay.
But the main story behind that is I want to motivate people, because I have so many people that come to me and they have different questions or different problems that they're dealing with in their life. Like I said, I'm a leader at my job. A lot of my friends, I'm the glue guy that kind of puts all these different friends together and all that stuff. So I constantly have people coming to me getting advice from all different things, just being around me and my energy. So what I wanted to do is turn it into something to help them as a reminder, like, hey, always put your best foot forward, to be the best you that you can be.
Right.
And the idea came from actually when I lost all that weight and got back in the gym like I really wanted to and everything. I saw how much I motivated other people, and how many people came to me like, how'd you do it? I want to do this. I want people telling you all types of different stuff that they want to accomplish. And it's like, I didn't even do that, so I don't know. But at the end of the day, I want to keep everybody mindful of, how can I be better at something today, so that they're always striving for their best self. So I just wanted to mention that, I probably could have wore it, but, I wanted to mention it just for people, if they're interested in anything, because it's something that, obviously I want to see you working out when it, showing off that your hard work and everything, but it's all about reaching for that best, that higher self.
Right. I like that. Do you sell those shirts? Like, do you sell them? Like, can people order them? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Definitely.
Okay. Where did the name come from?
Superhero fit. Like
Superhero fit. Okay.
Heru fit, like the guy Heru, which is always the god of your higher self.
Got you. Hey, I want to order one for real. Like, I'll order one. I'll wear it to the gym. Well, I haven't been to the gym since COVID, but I do my little home workouts, keep myself presentable. You know what I'm saying? So.
That's all right. Hey, one day we got to be able to get a workout in, so I can get you out of JUCO. You know what I mean? And get you up to
let's do it. Hey, let's do it. Like, I miss the gym now. Like, I used to take the gym for granted. I used to go. I was in the gym even when I was in school and stuff. I always make time to go to the gym. But since COVID, with the little one and all that, I'm like, no, let me just kind of hold tight. But yeah,
It was
man,
a pleasure
so
being
much.
able to do this, man. I'm glad that you reached out to me,
Absolutely,
to
man.
have me on and stuff like that. So, and I hope that a lot of the viewers can learn something and use this to help them, in their path.
Yes, sir. That's the goal. That's the goal. I pray it does. I know it will. You definitely dropped some great gems and some great insights. So thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. And also, tell us where we can get that shirt. Like, is it a website? Like, how can we get access to it? Because I'm gonna place my order for sure. Me and
So I'm gonna get a website going, but right now it's just operating off of Instagram. So they could lead back to my Instagram and then send me a message and stuff like that. They'll see me on my Instagram working out with the shirt on and stuff like that. I'll bring a hashtag with it and all of that, and then they can go from there. So,
all right, cool. Do you want to share your Instagram? I mean, you don't have to your handle, but you can if you want. For those if you want them to go and send you a DM to put in that order.
Oh yeah, my Instagram is Scooby Skyline 3. Just Scooby like Scooby Doo, Sky like the sky, and Skyline and number 3. So.
Got it. All right, sounds good, man. Thanks for the time again, brother, man. I appreciate it, man. Have a good night, bro.
Appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in to SKaL, Sports, Knowledge, and Life, a space where we empower student athletes. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe.